Well, hello, friends. Pro-life leader Frank Pavone here. I want to bring you my daily diary segment here today for May 4th to the 7th of 2026. What did I do each day? Well, May 4th was a Monday, and around 4 in the morning, I headed to the airport to get an early flight up to Richmond, Virginia. One of my staff people, Rico, came with me, and we were on our way to the conference of the National Institute of Family and Life Advocates, for which I was one of the main speakers, and we were both manning an exhibit booth for Priests for Life, as well as a voter registration table, and that was exciting. So we talked, we met, we worked in the terminal, on the plane, on the drive to the conference itself. Once we got to the conference itself, we started setting up the exhibit booth and, of course, interacting with all our pro-life colleagues, the leaders of NIFLA. I had some great conversations with other speakers and pro-life leaders and exhibitors that were arriving. We did that the whole rest of the day, really. But I had some additional things which I'll explain to you here besides all that networking. On my computer, some of the things I handled, some of the themes, the broadcast schedule, Praying for America, follow-up with the Susan B. Anthony Pro-Life America, whose event I had been at a few days earlier, planning for the 115 Forum Meeting of Leaders, the trip plans for upcoming invitations and confirmed trips, communication with Kurt Dillinger, the head of Life International, on a project we're going to collaborate on, approval of appeals and mini catalogs, that is the little monthly special order form that we have for the very, very many pro-life products that we distribute. Had some lunch there with my staff person and some of the other pro-life colleagues that were milling around. At 1 o'clock, I had a phone call with the chairman of the Washington Times for a special project that we are doing with them. I'm coordinating with the pro-life leaders to write a series of articles. There'll be a special section devoted to the pro-life movement. You'll hear more about that as time goes on. And so went back into the exhibit area, again, interacting with so many of our pro-life friends and colleagues. I like to go around to each and every booth, and most of these people I know. Some of them will, maybe if they're newly hired by the pro-life organization, I may not have met them before. And then there was a state coalition meeting from 3 to 5 that I was honored to be invited to come to. I said some words to that group. But these are state coalitions of pregnancy centers, and I arranged for the leader of that coalition to also speak at our national gathering of pro-life leaders. So I made all those arrangements there that afternoon. In the evening of Monday, May 4th, the evening session of the conference I helped to lead, because it was a healing service honoring the unborn, and it was conducted through Rachel's Vineyard, which of course I'm the pastoral director for around the world. And we have a good Virginia, Richmond-based Virginia Rachel's Vineyard retreat site. And the leaders from that site, about 4 or 5, came over to the conference, and they led this reflective time of prayer, memorial, and testimony. And then I gave some remarks towards the end of it myself, and we concluded the evening with some good networking with all the different folks that were there. So it was a beautiful evening of prayer, remembrance, and healing. First day of the NIFLA conference. Second day, Tuesday, May the 5th, the NIFLA conference. Started out early, got some breakfast, and it was a, let's see what this says here. Yes, I had breakfast there, and there was worship offered by the conference. I had to catch up on my computer on a couple of topics, including some technical questions with our technology team, some preparation for a conservative action project meeting coming up in Washington, some communication about the upgrading of our healthcare plan, an article I sent into the Gateway Pundit, correspondence helping staff to answer, Travelog, one of our regular publications, finalizing input for that, getting ready for some plans, making some plans for speaking engagement I have in Montana coming up, plans for the 115 Forum meeting of pro-life leaders, the project People of the Womb, together with Life International. You'll hear more about that, and approval of an action alert going out to our email list. Meanwhile, with the conference itself, I had in the morning was listening to some of the presentations in the main conference room. And then at 10:30, I had a meeting with Dr. Byron Calhoun. He's one of our medical advisors for Priests for Life, and we rely on his expertise in speaking about the medical aspects of abortion. And we were talking about things like the latest ages for viability for babies in the womb, and other projects that we're working on together. It was great to catch up with him. He's a maternal fetal medicine specialist. So we had a good meeting at 10:30. Subsequent to that, I continued networking in the networking area. I had lunch, and then let's see. After lunch, the presentations, of course, continued. I had a 2:00 meeting together with a good friend and colleague, Greg Cunningham of the Center for Bioethical Reform. I serve on his board. He came over to my booth area. We had a substantive discussion and planning meeting. And at the end of that, I continued networking with people in the networking area, in the booth area. Then I had a 3:30 phone call with one of our executive team members, Mark. Later on, continued listening to some of the presentations, networking with some of the people, and then had a dinner meeting with the head of Life International, Kurt Dillinger. And this project, The People of the Womb, is essentially urging the church, as we proclaim the gospel, not to forget that the unborn are included in the Lord's command to bring the gospel to every creature. Tuesday, May the 5th. So let's see. Wednesday, May the 6th came along, started out early. I had breakfast and did some work on my computer in regard to Dropbox, approval of appeals, approval of action alerts. Media outreach to different entities that want me on. The Truth Uncensored podcast, planning for that, approval of a parish fax, some travelogue preparation, communication about a board meeting, had the mini catalog approval process as well, an article for Catholic Online website, some instruction to staff about transcription of videos and about correspondence. The conference got underway, and this was the morning that I was one of the speakers. So we were part of a panel about the church and the abortion issue. And so I did that from 9 to 10, interacted with people afterwards that had questions for me, and talked with them, then went back into the session. The discussion was about the limitations on groups for political activity. We know a lot about that. I contributed to the discussion. Lunch was served, interacted with a lot of the people. And then we had actually a separate room of a luncheon for the pastors. And so, of course, I was part of that, and I spoke a little bit to the pastors. And the idea of having chaplains for the pregnancy centers was an idea we all explored. And it was a very good pastors' luncheon meeting. We took a nice picture. You may have seen it on my social media. Then I went back into the presentation room, and Kurt was presenting on the People of the Womb project. That was in the early afternoon. Later in the afternoon, networked together in the exhibit area with other colleagues. And then at 3:30, I had to participate in a board meeting. I participated by phone, and we had to make some decisions. This is a pro-life philanthropic group. And then as the afternoon went on, we made preparations for the evening gala there. And I sat with Tom Brecka, who is very close to the Scheidler family and represented Joseph Scheidler for decades in the course that went to the Supreme Court 3 different times. Tom and I caught up a little bit about the pro-life work, about the Scheidlers, and about all sorts of other things, including legal and constitutional matters. And he was honored that night there at the banquet. Pro-life attorney Tom Brecka, Thomas More Society is the name of the group. So that celebration gala brought me much opportunity to network with the participants and a lot of our other colleagues in the pro-life movement. And that brought a nice conclusion to Wednesday, the 6th of May. And finally, Thursday, The 7th of May, had to do some work on my computer at different times of the day, dealing with correspondence that staff is answering, columns we are sending to various media, approval of another parish fax, notes to donors, trip work of upcoming travels and invitations, sending some email communication to Tom Brecka that I was just talking about. He wanted to see a talk that I gave on the legal aspects of the Dobbs decision. Some communication with pro-life leaders about the need for some pathologists to examine some aborted babies, travelogue approval, pro-life products being promoted, approval of an appeal letter, and more. So on Thursday, went to the conference presentations. Again, I contributed to a discussion about the so-called Johnson Amendment. What are the restrictions on churches and other groups and as far as intervening in politics? And I had some things to contribute to that discussion. Networking with people at the exhibit area. Then we came actually to the conclusion of the conference midday and helped my associate Rico to start packing up our exhibit booth. We did it in a leisurely way and interacted with more of the participants until it was time for our car to pick us up, take us back to the airport there in Virginia. We got to the airport, checked in for our flight back to Florida, and then at 3:00, I had a 1-hour radio interview that I had been scheduled to come on, so I came on it. Another pro-life leader interviewed me for an hour, and I was doing it standing there in the airport terminal. I found a quiet corner and was able to do that full interview, very fruitful conversation. After that, it was almost time to board the plane, went over to the gate, and then continued to talk and work with my associate, did some work and reading on the plane, got back to Orlando, got back to my office, and settled in for the evening. So that's what I did, May the 4th to the 7th, 2026. I hope your days and your work for the pro-life cause are blessed and fruitful. Thanks for watching.
Hey everybody, it's Dr. Gina from American Sunrise Show on Real America's Voice. And I just wanted to take a moment to thank Father Pavone and his entire team for everything they do there for life all the time. Some of you know that I went all the way through Catholic schools. I always say I know enough about Catholicism to be dangerous, but it's true. But I'm not Catholic, and I think that's really important because I know what it takes to be a strong Catholic for life because I know the mechanics of it, but I also appreciate so much that somebody from the Catholic faith is carrying the torch in the ways that I think it should be carried. I've said many times, I've interviewed Father Pavone countless times, I've known him for decades, and I've said many times that he is one of the most courageous Catholics I've ever known. And I think that's so important as we go into an age where the battle we wage is not against flesh and blood. He is one of the greatest warriors in the movement, and the things that he and his team have done for life, I think, is so important. So I hope that you not only pay attention to his show, but that you support Priests for Life and that you support Father Pavone personally, because he is a humble man who doesn't tell you about all the battles, but trust me, he could always use your support and your love, and perhaps even most importantly, your sincere prayer. And so thank you for all you do to support Father Pavone and Priests for Life. And please continue in the next generation. The time is now, and we need it more than ever. God bless you and keep you. Go boldly now and live the truth.
Follow him, Frank Pavone, Fr. Frank Pavone. He is the National Director of Priests for Life. Please go to priestsforlife.org.
Frank Pavone. Frank, thank you very much.